like to thank Mr. Group and ICED for giving me this wonderful opportunity today. I'd also like to thank Black Masters Institute and Tom Coons for the years of training and mentoring. Principle number 1 in the 12 Principles of Black Masters, the walls of opportunity. How many of us in this room face problem in life business? Can I see your hands? Principle number 2 in the 12 Principles of Black Masters will show you that there are no problems, but only opportunities. So from this point on, in your culture, in this culture, in this network, we're not even going to allow you a problem. From this point, moving forward. Because when we have a problem, we don't want to address it. And when we don't address problem, it gets worse in most situations. But opportunity, we embrace those. In our home, we don't even allow the problem. We don't even have math problems. We have math opportunities. With a problem, now referred to as an opportunity, we have something we call the walls of opportunity. One of the challenges I have is that I struggled in school. I got held back a year in grade school, and that really impacted me. I struggled with reading and spelling. I worked hard to overcome this problem, and I made it into opportunity. I'm now in mainstream classes. I just need to receive my report card with all A's and B's. This is not easy, of course. There were tears that were shed, frustration. You see the walls of opportunity? We're going to go over the wall, under wall, left, right, blow it up, tear down. Somehow, some way, we're going to make the breakthrough. The bigger the wall, the thicker the wall, the harder it is to make the breakthrough. The more important it is to make the breakthrough. This not just applies to business, though. It also applies to relationships as well. Another goal in my life is to start dating girls. The challenge I have in that area is that my mom and dad will let me date until 16. Quick question. I believe I'm a responsible young man. I own my own business. I'm a professional speaker. I believe I'm responsible to start dating early. If you agree with me, I'd love any input in talking to my dad. Do you agree with my dad? If you could just keep that to yourself, that'd be very appreciated. In closing, apply taking action one for the day. My goal, my dad's goal, and the goal of ICED is for you to reach beyond your dreams and goals in every area of your life. God bless. Let's give my dad, Mark Forsman, a warm welcome.
All right. How do you follow up with something like that, you know? My name again is Mark Boersma, and what a privilege it is to be able to share with you. As Ben said, we have so much information to go over in a very short period of time. Actually, it's probably about 4 hours that we're going to squeeze into an hour, and so we're going to go through a lot very, very quickly. Before we dive into that, just a little bit of background about myself. My wife and I, we've been married for 28 years. We have 7 children. Our oldest is 25. Our youngest is 12. We have 3 boys and 4 girls. And my first grandson, his birthday is today. So, Danny, happy birthday from Grandpa. So, what a great opportunity. Really, the systems, the things that we're going to be learning today are designed to not only help us make a lot more money, but to have a lot more time to really be able to put the things in place that we need to put in place to take our business to the next level of success. A little bit of background. I have 3 bachelor's degrees in business. I have 1 in finance, 1 in management, and 1 in marketing. When I graduated, my resume looked pretty good, so I had 6 job offers coming out of college. The only job I knew that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to go into sales because I didn't like salespeople, didn't ever want to be a salesperson. But then I looked at my goals and I said, you know, Mark, you're not going to be able to accomplish your goals, with the finance degree or the marketing or the management degree. So I took a 100% straight commission position right out of college with a small company. They gave me 2 days of training and they said, Mark, go sell. That did not work out so well. The first 3 months I made $1 an hour, which wasn't good because my wife and I were married when we were sophomores in college. She graduated at the same time I did. And we decided to start a family right away. So she was actually 3 months pregnant when I took the position. In addition to that, we also bought a house at the same time. So I went in the president after 3 months. I said, Tony, I'm doing everything you guys are telling me to do, and it's not working. And thank you. And he said, well, Mark, you know, you got to really be patient. It takes 12 to 18 months to really build your business. I said, Tony, I've got a wife that's now 6 months pregnant. I've got a new house. I can't afford to be patient. He said, well, Mark, what do you think you ought to do? And I listed off 3 things, and he said, well, go do them. Fortunately for me, I had started a number of my own companies, and one of those in college was a computer company, so I had more computing power at home than the whole company had. And I started developing some systems and tools that would differentiate me from my competitors, and put those systems in place and accomplished more in a week than I had in 4 months. And what I found that there's a lot of people out there like me that, hard workers, maybe not the brightest, but really work hard. And if I leverage systems, I reproduce myself. 6 months after I joined that company, I was promoted to a regional manager. 6 months after that, marketing manager. A year and a half after that, offered a position as vice president of sales with an equity position in the company. I was able to accomplish my 7-year goal in a year and a half. And it was based on systems. And that's what this is really all about, is how do we put the systems in place to really reproduce this? How many of us here today feel like you might own a job rather than owning a company? Anyone? I mean, that happens, doesn't it? And so we're going to learn the DNA, the science behind that. Now, Ben had said that, he had mentioned that how many of us go to a seminar workshop and then we don't follow through? And so for us to help you to follow through on not only this event, but the whole event, all the different sessions, you're going to be packed with so much information. You're probably going to have 1 million things that you want to do, 2 million things that other people want you to do, and 10 million things you could be doing. What is it that I really should be doing? So to help you, we need your help. And so there's a 3x4 card. If you could take this, and if you could fill this out right now, and so your name, your email, and your cell phone. And we are going to actually have a drawing at the end, so don't let me forget to go ahead and get that drawing. You'll turn all of these in. The first question that I'll ask you is, which of these 4 shapes would you tend to like the most? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball? A cube, a pyramid, a wavy line, or a ball? Put a number 1 beside the one you like the most, number 2, number 3, and then number 4. Just for my own curiosity, how many of you chose the cubes? Can I see your hands? Okay. And how many chose the pyramids? Can I see your hand? All right. And how many chose the wavy lines? Can I see your hands? All right. And how many chose the balls? Can I see your hand? All right. Excellent. And how many, when I said it, said, Mark, this is a really stupid test. Or maybe you said, I don't know what shape I am. I mean, I can be one here and there. How many of you kind of were confused, or you didn't like the test, or you saw yourself in all of them? Can I see your hand? You would be like the chameleon personality. So each one of these personalities have a tremendous amount of impact on how you manage and how you run your company, how you market, how you sell, how you recruit, and how you retain people. And so once we identify an individual's personality, we know their strengths, weaknesses, what they like, what they don't, turns them on, turns them off. If they're married, who they're married to. We know what to say, when to say. We know how to hire. We know their strengths before they even come on. I've been introduced to a lot of different personality tests over the years, and this is what we call personality masteries. And it's the science of being able to identify somebody's personality in 15 seconds. You can get so good at it, you can actually do it right over the phone based on how somebody says hello. The second question below, in little gray type there, which of these 4 things would cause you the most frustration, right underneath the shapes, in any area of your life? Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Things not being done properly or in order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict with others. Again, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which of these 4 things would cause you the most frustration in any area of your business or life? Things not being done properly in order, out of control, boring or not fun, or conflict with others. There are 4 major personalities. When we look at primary and secondary personalities, there's 16. If you look at all three of them, there's 64. If you look at 4, there's 256. If you look at these 2 tests combined, there's 65,536 possible combinations. And so what's neat about personality masteries is you can actually learn it very quickly, but once even you learn it, like I've been working on it for over 25 years, You're learning something new every day. Question B, 2 things that you would like to do in the next 6 months. What would be 2 things you would like to do in the next 6 months? It can be anything. I mean, it can be business, personal, relational, anything. Question, you still working on 2? B? Okay, question number C. What would you love help on? If somebody could help you in any area of your business or life, what would you love help on? Could be anything. And then there's an online assessment that we can email to you if you'd like that. If you'd like us to email you the online assessment, there's no cost to it. You just check that box there. Turn it over. And if you'd like a complimentary interview kind of strategy session on the personalities, if you'd like that, again, a complimentary one, or anything that we go over today, you can check that. And one of our associates will connect with you and schedule a complimentary interview strategy session. Question number 1 on the back, how many hours are you currently working? Put that in the first blank. And then how many hours would you like to be working? How many hours are you currently working, roughly? I didn't say productive work, just working. How many hours are you working, okay? And how many would you like to be working? Question number 2, if you had 10 leads, new leads coming in, a lead being a name and a phone number, from all the different lead sources you have, how many of those would convert? The average in most industries is about 1 out of 10. So if you had 10 new leads coming in, how many of those would you convert? The average in most industries is about 1 out of 10. What do you think yours would be? The second part of that question is, what are the 2 major reasons you believe you're successful? What are the 2 major reasons you believe you're successful? And what we're going to do while you're filling that out too is you can take, like you'll see on your card or on your name tag, oh, you guys, what are we going to do? I was thinking of the other name tags. Would that work on the name tag? You can take it and put it wherever you'd like to put it. There's the shapes, and if you'd like to, we're going to pass these around. Appreciate Jerry and David for their willingness to help us out with those. So take the first shape and the second shape, your primary shape and your secondary shape, and you can put that, I don't know if it'll work on your name tag or on your shirt collar or whatever you'd like to do, or on your book. I don't know, where do you... I'll let Jerry and David. Upper left, yeah, right, yeah, on the top side, top right of your badge, your primary personality. And then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to interact with other people. And anyone that didn't attend this session, they'll be like, what's that? And say, you gotta attend all the sessions. You can't skip out on any of them. And you'll be able to connect with one another. It'll be something fun that you'll enjoy. Question number 3 is, it could be your WOW income goal, it could be your personal income goal, or it could be sales, whatever you want. What would be something that would absolutely rock your life, either personal income or sales? What would be something that would really, really excite you? And then if you want to fill out any past information, you can. That just helps us to understand, gives us some input on how we might be able to help you, so you can do that or not. And then the last question is, what would be your two biggest challenges to achieving your WOW income goal, working the number of hours you want to work? So what would be the two biggest challenges to earning your WOW income goal or your WOW sales goal or revenue goal, whatever that is, working the number of hours that you want to work? And when you get done with that, if you could pass it into the middle, we'll pick those up in a moment for the drawing. What we're going to be doing a drawing for is a business x-ray. And so the business x-ray looks at a number of different aspects of your business. And so we'll be doing a drawing for that. And so if you could turn them into the center when you get a chance, or whenever you're finished, okay? And I know some of you are still working. Sorry to push you. If you could take out what you see on the screen here, the 530 grid. The 530 grid is the DNA for really building your business, for taking your business to the next level of success. And so when we look at the 530 grid, every business has 5 areas. It doesn't matter what business it is. It's going to be marketing, area 1, and then area 2, pre-sales, and then area 3, the sale, and then area 4, servicing, and then area 5, client or relationship for life. You can think of these kind of as a funnel, and we're only as strong as our smallest funnel. So let's say we're doing $1 million. We want to get to $2 million. We could have actually 4 out of the 5 funnels at $2 million. But if one of the funnels is at $1 million, we're only going to be doing $1 million. Now, this is not only true in our business, but every one of our customers, it's true in their business. And this is really why an MSP, a marketing solutions provider, is so powerful. Because if somebody's not a marketing solutions provider, they will often go in and improperly advise a business to do something that they shouldn't do. For instance, if somebody to go ahead and say, if you double the number of leads coming in, what will that do to your bottom line business? What will most people say? Double leads, double sales. But that's not the case. It will often decrease your profitability. But somebody who's not an MSP typically doesn't understand that. Because there's actually 4 Qs, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but there's the quantity of leads coming in, Q1. There's the quality of the lead that you generate. Normally, when Q1 goes up, your Q2 goes down because you're getting further from your sphere of influence. So just generating more leads just to generate more leads doesn't increase the bottom line. It often decreases it. If that wasn't bad enough, your Q3 goes down, which is your quantity of your contacts, the number of sales contacts you have, the touches that you have. And if that's not bad enough, your Q4 goes down, which is the quality of your contacts. So again, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But these 5 areas are absolutely critical for every business, doesn't matter what it is, in any industry. When we understand these 5 areas, we're going to see greater success because we're going to be more strategic. We're not going to waste time. We're not going to waste money based on these 5 areas. There are 6 levels of proficiency. And the higher the proficiency, when we get over into here, the bigger the funnel we'll have. So you'll see up at the top here, which one of the funnels is your funnel? So the first one here looks kind of like a toothpick here. And then you have, a little bit larger, a little bit larger. And so there's all these different funnels. You can see the big funnel here. So when you look at your business, which funnel do you have? And if they're not all matching, if they're like something like this, that's really bad. That's worse to have something like that than have a funnel, all of it, because all of the extra that you have in marketing, in sales and pre-sales and servicing, all of that's wasted because you don't have the capacity to be able to push all of that through. When we take a look at a BOSS system, a business operating system, there are really three major ingredients to a BOSS system. The first is personality masteries, which is what I ask you, on which of these four shapes would you tend to like the most? Each of these four shapes will make decisions based on their personality. So how many of you have a direct sales force? Can I see your hands? Okay, a few of you do. What we've found is that a lot of owners of companies have struggles in recruiting and retaining or making a sales force profitable. And it's often because they're not trained in how to sell based on personalities. The average salesperson is only going to be able to convert 1 out of 10 leads. If you look at the primary and secondary personalities, they're 16. 1/16 is 6.3%. And so when we learn how to sell based on personalities, we will double or triple the effectiveness. So every lead that's coming in, we're going to convert more of those. That's personality masteries. It's the science of understanding how people think and why they make the decisions that they do. The second is the 530 grid, and then the third is natural laws. Natural laws, we've discovered in over 21 years in business, we've discovered over 200 natural laws that apply. When we understand these natural laws and apply them to our business, we're going to see success. So the combination of these three things produce a phenomenal business operating system, not only for yourself, but also for other individuals. We're privileged to have Tom Kuntz here today. Tom is the most recent past president of Century 21. Tom oversaw over 140,000 sales professionals in over 70 different countries. Tom and I co-authored a book, Community Business Partnerships. We also co-authored the workbook that you have, the Golden Triangle, which really lays out the cornerstone boxes 1 through 6. And so I thought, since Tom was here, that we would go ahead and have him just share a couple things on the personality masteries and why it's so powerful, and the 530 grid.
Thanks, Mark. Good afternoon. I have to tell you one thing. I'm used to talking to real estate agents and real estate brokers, and that table over there with all the goodies and stuff on it, if we'd have had a 15-minute break, it would have all been gone. So I congratulate you. All have some willpower that none of my agents and brokers ever had to have. But it's really two things I want to warn you about. When you get tied up with Mark, I was coming here to listen to Mark talk today, and then when I committed to that, all of a sudden I found out, he said, okay, you got about 5 minutes, you got to get up here and talk a little bit about it. So, okay, what am I talking about? So, I jotted it down in the back of the room. I want to talk about, first of all, can I use your little pointer?
Yes, right there.
I want to talk about this, first of all. 6 years ago, when I picked up the phone, and it was Mark, and he was talking to me about some of the things that you're going to hear about today, one of the things through the course of our conversation got down to this personality masteries. I have to tell you, in all of the things that I've seen in the 35 plus years I spent in the real estate business, the real estate franchise business, and in sales in general, this has been the most powerful thing in my life. If you don't do this program for anything else other than yourself, what it's going to allow you to do is to understand how you think, why you do the things you do, why you present the way you present. Because when I saw the power of what this personality masteries was, and I thought about those 140,000 sales agents I had out in the marketplace, and every opportunity they have to sit in front of, in most cases, a couple, and communicate with them about the advantages of home ownership, the chances of them actually connecting with both of those people sitting in front of them were really like, 1 in 4, or maybe even higher than that. But if they'd have known about this personality mastery program and could have sit there and ask a couple of fun questions, did you find those questions kind of interesting and fun? I thought they were kind of fun. I laughed at them all the time. All of a sudden now they're close rate because I could deliver the same amount of information in 2 different ways at the same time, and each of them are going to say, wow, this person understands me. It's not delivered the way I want to deliver it. It's not delivered the way I would like to have it delivered to me. It's the way that it's delivered to them, the way that they like to have information presented. And all of a sudden that bond is right there, because those people are sitting there saying, this agent really understands me. Work the same way for you and your people in your organization. So, personality masteries it changed my life. I wish I would have found it a lot sooner than I did, because I guarantee you Century 21 would have had personality masters in their organization. But now I want to spend a little bit of time about the 530 grid. Because you see what Mark said is really true. This is the DNA of any business. And I want to illustrate it by this way. If you look at these 5 things, marketing's job is what? To get people to raise their hand. We're interested in your product. Pre-sales job is to now take those leads and sort through them and make sure that the ones that are ready to make a decision right away, they've done what with? Push the sales. The ones that aren't, their job is to work with them, cultivate them, to get them to move forward, and then push them off to sales. Sales job is close the sale. Servicing job is to make sure that the product gets installed and serviced, and talk to the people. If they're happy about it, Client for Life is to, almost like a second sales team, to say, are there any other products and services we have that we could help you in your business or in your life with, or could you refer somebody to us? So that's what those things are about. But I want to focus right up here, because see, I had a big organization. I ran the largest residential real estate company in the entire world. But you know what? We failed here. And if I'd have found this a lot earlier, we'd have been a lot more successful. And I want to tell you why. Because what I found with small businesses is what happens is marketing gets out and generates leads. Then what do they do with them? They turn them over to sales. Okay? Now, a good salesperson is going to do what? If I got 4 leads, what am I going to look at? Which one's going to close the fastest? Why am I going to look at it? Because I won't make money fast enough. What am I going to do with the other 3? If I don't see that they're going to do anything in 35, 40 days, I'm going to mark them as dead, right? And I'm going to move on. So let me give you what happened in our organization, the company that I work for. We had put this program in place where somebody could go online if they were interested in the property. They could fill out a little email that would be sent to whoever had that property within 60 seconds. They'd convert it from type to voice. Your phone, your cell phone would ring. You'd pick it up. It would regurgitate it back to you and also send you an email. Pretty good system, huh? 60 seconds, I could respond back to you. But all of a sudden, I went down one day and started talking with our IT guys and said, how many leads are being marked dead? You have to understand, in order for the lead marked dead, the agent had to mark it dead, the manager had to mark it dead, the broker had to mark it dead, then it came back to us. Okay, you ready for this number? 50,000 a month. Okay? How many is that a year? 600,000 leads. Okay? Why? Because what we were doing was marketing was generating a ton of leads, but they were going to the salespeople. What were the salespeople saying? If it ain't going to close in 30 days, it's a dead lead. I got to get on and make a living. Okay? So I went out and said very quickly, I said, give me 5,000 of those. I want to go out. And I went to a support desk. I gave them a script, and I said, I want you to call these 5,000 people and tell me the result. I wanted to pull a gun out and shoot myself when I got the results. Here's the results of just randomly drawing 5,000 leads that weren't put through a pre-sale process that we marked dead and moved on. 40% of those folks had done what? Bought. And who did they buy from? Our competitors. Right. Another roughly 40% was what? They're still looking. They're still looking. They're still out there looking. So that's another, good 40% of revenue that we had the potential to get. Then there were 10% of them that just said, you know what, I've decided not to do anything in the real estate market today. And then there was about another 10%, I'm rounding these numbers up, but about another 10% that were truly bogus leads. So when you sit down and look at it, there were 80% of those leads. Had I had that kind of a system in place, we could have probably double, tripled our revenue at our company, and probably even gone higher if we had implemented our personality masters with all of our sales associates. If I were still president of that company, I guarantee you that these 2 programs would be implemented, and nobody in that industry would ever catch us. And I would suggest to you the same thing can happen in the printing industry. You want to set your competitors on edge? Put these programs in place, and I guarantee you, as the guy says with the suits, I guarantee it, that you're going to see sales increase. And if you, and especially with the personality masteries, just being able to communicate with somebody the way they want to be communicated with and understand what that relationship is so powerful in a business relationship. I really appreciate the opportunity of being here with you today. Mark, thank you very much for allowing me to say a few words. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. You know, how many of us in our lives have clients or prospects that are maybe cynics, skeptical about trying new things? Any of you have that? Or maybe maybe you have employees like that? Okay. Yeah, we won't get into that. It's on video. We won't get into that. What about us? Are we like that? So I'm going to give you guys an assignment. We're going to hand out in just a moment here a 530 3D kit. Okay? I've had multiple people say, this isn't going to work, Mark. People aren't going to follow through on this. It will, though. How many of you have a child under the age of 12 that's either could be a child or grandchild, a niece, nephew, somebody that you know that's under the age of 12? Okay, most of you do. Okay, here's your assignment. Any of you familiar with the movie Ratatouille? Okay, I want you to watch that movie, okay, with that child under the age of 12. Because in that movie, there's a secret to taking people out of cynicism. Because there was a restaurant critic that, I mean, he was tough as nails. And in that movie, there's a secret to taking the cynicism away. Now the 3D kit combined with that movie, you watch that movie, and then you take the 3D kit, we'll hand those out in just a moment, and you put together one of these. You put together one of these, and it will revert back. You will revert back to childhood. Because you'll be cutting and taping and pasting. And if your funnel isn't all matching, if it's more like the one on the left up there, you've got some major issues within your business. This, I believe, is so successful that I believe that individuals will actually start to utilize this with their customers, where you'll go into the office. And Jerry and David, we were talking yesterday, and we had an unbelievable event yesterday, just a local event here for helping to stop child trafficking. And some of these young ladies, when they get out of the program, they're going to be 18, they're going to need opportunities. And I believe that they could make some of the best salespeople on the planet. And so you go ahead and take an intern, and that's what we're going to be doing with David and Jerry. So we're going to be doing some pilot testing through Life Masteries Institute and some of the educational programs they have in bringing in high school and college students and turning them into salespeople. Ben is 14 years old. Ben's a pretty normal kid, but he can get up and speak. Why? Because he started when he was very young. Kids have amazing capabilities, and if you're not tapping into young people in your community, not only do you do something really good for the community, but you do something really good for your business. Does this stuff all really work? And what I'd like to do is just have David and Jerry share a couple stories that they have. One is on a beauty salon and how you can be very innovative in bringing solutions that you'd never even think of. And then the other is just a restaurant that they went ahead and had lunch. They brought in the Golden Triangle, and they had some amazing things, so I'll let them share.
My name's Jerry Hayes. I'm a member of CA, Keys Mountain. Mark wanted to tell me the story. We started working with Mark a few months ago, and probably after a month and a half, Mark and I still argued a lot about how is personality masteries, how's that going to help us sell printing? How is asking someone to solve their challenges in their life, we want to sell printing. And Mark tells me, no, you don't. You want to solve people's problems. So one day finally I said, give me an example for a printer how solving a problem is going to sell printing. So he said, well, I just happened to have worked with another printer. He went into a beauty salon and he asked them, this is what line is, what is your challenge? And the answer was the employees have low morale. And I'm thinking, man, Mark just hung himself. So I said, okay, fine. So how did you sell printing from that? And he said, well, we took a little card similar to this with personality masters and cubes, and on the back was an explanation of it. One at the bottom was an explanation. And so what he did was he went into the owner of the salon, they had like 30 chairs there. He said, what you do is you explain to each of the girls that cuts hair how this works, how you tell the customer, you know, would you like to take this little questionnaire when they come in and explain how it explains their personalities to them. And then on the back, you have a coupon, good for $5 off a phone or something like that. And then the employee gives each of the customers 5 or 6 cards, saying, now take these home and share these with your family and your friends. And then they hand them out, and they're not going to throw something like that away because it's fun, you know. And you go like, this is me, this is my personality. So now they've got 30 chairs printing maybe 500 cards a month, you know, printing. So that's the story in a nutshell. I mean, I thought, well, I had it.
You never get Mark.
I'm David Warren, Cook Copy 117. I want to talk a little bit about opportunities. I'm a wavy line. That means I'm up here somewhere yelling and screaming. As Ben alluded to this earlier when he was doing the opening about the opportunities, we had an opportunity to come to us. We were watching one of Mark's webinars, and after the webinar, it was time for us to go to lunch. We went to Dickie's to eat lunch, and Becky is the owner of this particular one. And we were in line, waiting in line to get our food, and talking about the seminar that we just got through watching. And she came up to us and, of course, gives us a hug, because we've been there several times, and said, how y'all doing? It's pretty good. And we started talking. She asked me questions about the seminar we were watching, which is similar to the business plan he was showing here. And so we told her, come to lunch with us, and we'll talk a little bit about it, which is our opportunity. And so we usually take about 15 or 20 minutes for lunch. An hour and a half later, we came out with about 7 orders from her. There are 5 other Dickies in the area, and we're going to have lunch with each one of those as a group thing, because we found out that they don't have a marketing plan. They give them their menus and some of their referral cards and stuff, but no, they don't go out and market. So we're going to have a marketing brunch with them, with 5 of their owners, to open up a new opportunity for us.
Thank you. Excellent. So there's all kinds of opportunities out there. The key is, how do we find those? How do we discover those? And how do we bring solutions to those particular areas? And so we're going to go ahead and hand out the 3D kit. And so I think it's back in the box there. And so in the 3D kit, you won't put them together. We thought about doing that now, but we said, no, that's not going to happen. So you can take them home. Again, what are you going to do when you get home? Okay, you're going to get a 12-year-old. Get a 12-year-old, and then what? Watch the movie, okay? And then you're going to put them together with a 12-year-old. I think you might want to take a look at doing that with your employees as well. There's something about touching and feeling things where you're able to see, you know what, if I have a business like this and I have a funnel in servicing like this, that's not going to work so well. And so I need to have every one of the 5 areas into alignment. I shouldn't be generating more leads than I'm able to follow up with on a proper basis. And so we're going to go through and just take a few minutes to go through each of the 5 areas. And I also asked Tom if he'd be willing to share just a couple minutes. Let me grab one of those if I could. Thank you. Sorry, I took a couple of them. All right. And so on the top of the 3D kit, kind of give an overview of it. And then what you have here is you have leadership. And leadership is the foundation of everything. It's the vision. If you don't have a bigger vision, if you don't have a bigger vision than this for your company, this is what you're going to be. You will be. If we have something that's much larger, and so there's 6 levels of proficiency in vision: culture and values, vision, belief and knowledge, do, give, and our legacy. And I thought, boy, since Tom's going to be here today, who better to share some great ideas and inspiration and thoughts on leadership? And so, Tom.
Thanks again, Mark. Leadership is really an interesting process, and I had the opportunity to stand in front of our employees a lot. And I used to tell them that, I'm not just a leader. Everybody in our organization is a leader in the area that they're responsible for, and that's how I looked at it. But the primary, if you are the leader of the organization, the owner of the company, one of the greatest books I ever read was next to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich was Michael Gerber's E-Myth. How many of you read the E-Myth? If you haven't, you need to go get it. Because what Michael basically said is as owners of companies, you have to learn how to work on your business, not in the business. You started your company because you didn't want to be an employee of somebody else. Is that correct for most of you? And so what he says is that when you make that transition, when that hat changes, you need to be able to make sure you understand what your business is about and don't work in it, work on top of it. And so that's the first thing that a leader has to really do, and it's right at the top of the sheet that you have, here. What it basically says is that your job is to really set the culture and the values of your organization. And I don't care if it's just 2 people in your company. You need to make sure that everybody, you and whoever your other partner is, if that was the only 2 people in the company, you have to have a culture and value statement. What are we about? Because as you grow, and you will if you have these things and put these things in place, you need to be able to talk to the employees as you start bringing them on about what your culture is, what your values are. And the next thing is you have to set vision. Where are we taking our company? Your job as the owner, and especially in a small entrepreneurial company, you're going to wear many hats every day. And the one thing you have to remember is you have to remember, what hat do I have on now? Do I have the leadership hat on, or am I working with marketing, pre-sale, whatever it may be? And you have to get focused to where you're at there. So you have to set the vision. Where do we need to take our company, and how are we going to get there? Then the next box, to me, is the most important. And what does it start with? In that third box over there, what's the first word? Belief. See, I truly believe that nothing happens unless you believe it right here. And especially in a company. If you don't believe in the culture and the vision for your organization, if you don't just believe that kind of belief process, your company's not going to go. And the reason it's not is because, if you don't have that belief, how are you going to convince somebody else to come to work for you? How are you going to believe somebody to invest in your product or service? You have to be the preacher up on the stand every day, every hour, every second, talking about how great your organization is. Not you, how great your organization is, how great your employees are. And most importantly, how good your product really is. So that belief process is one of the best things. And then you have to have the do and the give, and you have to leave a legacy. Look around us. If this isn't one of the best legacies I've ever seen, step outside, walk around these grounds. The way I understand it is that the founder of your organization built all this, right? Is that true? For who? For all of you. And he left this legacy for all of you to enjoy. Your job now is to take the core values of the organization, ingrain them into your company, talk about them in your marketplace, and show them that in your marketplace you are without a doubt the best printer, bar none. I don't care how big the other people are, I don't care how small they are. Without a doubt, you are truly the best, and you got to go tell that all the time, every single day. And as you start to grow, then you'll have other people who will be able to do that. And that leadership is just the ability to get up in the morning and feel good about what you're doing And when you go to bed at night, be able to sit down and say, you know, I think I did a pretty good job today. I did 100%. Tomorrow I'm going to do 110. And you take that belief process and you go out there and you execute on your culture, on your vision, on your core value systems, and you just go make it happen. Mark?
Thank you. All right. So again, as Ben promised at the beginning, we have a lot to go over in a short period of time, so get your running shoes on. That's the leadership, which is represented by this. Okay? So it doesn't matter where you're at. If this is where you're at, you need to have something bigger, a larger vision. I'd encourage you to talk to Tom and Jerry and David about what happened yesterday. When we expand our vision, the legacy, the give. Tom was also on the board of Easter Seals and helped raise over $100 million for Easter Seals. That's not only good, a good thing to do, that is really, really good for business. And if all of you came together, and did something together, we can all accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. And so when we look at that, is our leadership, we need to ask ourselves, do we have the culture and values? Do we have the vision? Do we have the belief and the knowledge, the do, the give, and our legacy? What is our legacy? Being a new grandfather, I've been thinking more about my legacy. I mean, I love that little guy so much. I mean, it's so much more fun. It's like, you know, I don't know. I love my kids a lot, but boy, if I could have just skipped the kids, went straight to the grandkids, you know, I'd seriously think about that as well. And so what is our legacy? What do we want to do? All right, let's go ahead and turn to the next, the pink color, the red color. Area 1 is in marketing. This is the top of the funnel. And so there's a million things you could be doing, 2 million things that, you know, a million things you want to do, 2 million things other people want you to do, and 10 million things you could be doing. You know what? They're probably all good things. The biggest enemy to greatness, remember the natural laws that we talked about? And so in the natural laws, the biggest enemy to greatness is goodness. The biggest enemy to a great company is a good company. The biggest enemy to a great marriage is a good marriage. And so what we need to look for is not the good marketing things for our own business and for every one of our clients, for every one of our customers, but what are the great things? Because great marketing things produce a high quantity and a high quality of lead. It's the perfect blend of quantity and quality. And so what you do is, again, after Ratatouille, all right, you sit down with, you know, that child that's, you know, 12 or under. It can be older. Older ones love it too. The wavy lines, they're the kids that have the most fun with this kind of stuff. And so you cut this out and then cut out whichever level you are, and that will give you the marketing. And so in marketing, there's 6 levels. You'll see it right here. You'll also see it here as well. It was really cool as I took a tour of Jerry and David's place yesterday, and I got to see what an amazing layout and great people. We got a chance to talk about personalities and the vision and, you know, input from the different team members. It was a lot of fun. And then we saw this, you know, on the wall. So each individual on the team is able to understand this is where I play a role in the company. And every single role is absolutely critical. What are their visions? What do they want to accomplish? And so in marketing, the first is identification of target. When you look at the 530 grid, you'll see on the lower right-hand side of each box a number. There are different ways that you can go through and learn the 530 grid. You can learn it horizontally, you can learn it vertically, or you can do diagonal learning, which is the little numbers. And so the first thing you want to do is identify targets. So how many of your customers do not have a database? How many of you might not have a database? If they don't have a database, you know what? Marketing, when you think about it, marketing is the only one of the 5 areas that it's a one-on-many relationships. Pre-sales, the sales, servicing, client for life, most of that's pretty much one-on-one. But marketing is where you can leverage it. And so if your team, if you don't feel you have enough time How many of you would like more time in your lives? Okay. I'm going to be around all weekend. Tom and I, when we were speaking in Nashville, let me tell you, hanging around Tom, my whole world just changed. He made a call, and all of a sudden I was on the phone with the president of Easter Seals worldwide. I mean, it's just amazing. And I'm like, okay, I've got so many opportunities here. How do I go through it? And there's a natural law called the 3-for-1 principle. And the 3-for-1 principle will change your life forever if you apply it, because it did mine and it's done others. When a business owner invests $10,000 into something, what do you expect back? $10,000 plus a return, right? Pretty simple. When you invest 10 hours into something, what do you expect back? Typically, money. You're exchanging time for dollars, which is really pretty much like being an employee. And so when I looked at it, I said to Tom, Tom, you know, I've got to figure this thing out. And there's actually 10 videos on the Vision Project website. They're all free. You can go on there. And it explains the story and how you can take and change your paradigm to where you can start to look at where when I invest an hour, I'm going to get 3 hours back. I now, yes, with 7 children, I'm on multiple boards of nonprofit organizations. I'm an international speaker and author. Right now I'm working on 3 books all simultaneously. I've got a pretty active life, and I've got an extra 20 hours a week that I don't even know what to do with, of free time. And it's because I understand that when I look and invest an hour, I've got to figure out how to get 3 hours back, because I was hearing somebody yesterday, I think it was, they said, you know, you get more efficient, you get more effective, what do you get? You get more work. Well, how do you get around that? You learn how to reproduce yourself. You learn how to reproduce yourself. And there's a principle called the 5-time management freedom fighters. There's 6 ways you can do things. You can either do the work yourself, or you can delegate, systematize, contract out, hire someone, or partner with someone. If you do any one of those 5, you're reproducing yourself. You're buying back time. And time is something that's very, very critical. All right. The second, box 2, is develop and deliver a message. Box 3 is grouping people and messages together. Box 4 is measure results. Might be a little bit easier on here. Box 4 is measure results. Level 5 is going to be personality masteries. And then level 6 is going to be dollar results marketing. So as you get deeper into the grid, as your clients, as your customers get deeper into the grid, then what you're able to do is then you're able to go through and have greater success. You'll get more leads, better leads, and stronger leads. Grouping people and messages together, box 6, is one of the most effective ways to save yourself time and money. If you ask your clients what's their biggest challenge, over 40% of them will probably say, I don't have enough time. But they don't connect that back into their database. They don't connect that back into identifying the targets. They don't connect that back into segmentation of the database. They don't connect it back in. They don't connect, you know what, if I had a better organized database and I was able to better strategically market to those specific segments, I would have more time. I would make more money. They don't know that. Nobody's ever taught them, which is why it's so important to be working with an MSP, a marketing solutions provider. So that's your marketing. And you just cut those out, draw that up, and you'll have a funnel that'll be, of a different size. All right, let's go to area 2, pre-sales. Area 2 and pre-sales, as Tom had shared, this is the number one thing that companies struggle with, because most companies, if they have sales, they don't have pre-sales. Typically in pre-sales, in the shapes, typically in pre-sales, the individuals that will naturally, without training or coaching or mentoring, that will tend to do the best in pre-sales are going to be the cubes and the ball. The individuals that do the best in the sale will be the wavy line and the pyramid. And so they're the more assertive naturally. So the pyramid is going to be the more assertive and the wavy line's the more assertive, so they're not afraid to ask for the sale. The weakness of those individuals is they tend not to be the most patient people in the world. Okay? And so they're great at sales, asking for the sale, but they're not the most patient. And in pre-sales, you sometimes have to work a lead for quite a while. And so you typically want naturally your cubes and your balls to work pre-sales, and then you want your wavy line and your pyramids to work the sale. You work those two together, and it's absolutely amazing what will happen. If you have two people in sales right now, if you take one of them, move them into pre-sales, and keep the other one in sale, and you have one focus on pre-sales, the other focus on sale, you'll probably increase your sales by 4 times. Now, if you do that for your customers, now you become a solutions provider. See, all of this stuff is actually pretty easy. I mean, when you look at the science behind it and being able to go through it. Now, we had talked about the 4 Qs. You'll see it halfway down on the page on pre-sales, the green page here. And so when we look at quantity of leads, quality of lead, quantity of effort, quality of effort, if we look at quantity of leads, when they bump up, especially if you're using internet, okay, your quality of your lead is going to go down. And if your salespeople and pre-sales people are not trained to convert those harder, lower quality leads, you're going to lose them. So let's say that a lead is a 1 to 10. Everybody's out there, all your competition is out there looking for leads that are 8. If you're out there increasing your quantity of your marketing efforts, you're going to generate leads that are going to be 7 and below primarily. It's going to jam your sales systems, and your salespeople are not trained to convert that, and so they're having lower quality leads. They will not be happy. I mean, they'll be happy initially because there's a lot more leads, but when they can't convert them, what are they going to do? They're going to blame marketing. Well, marketing is generating all these leads, but it's not working. Well, part of it's marketing. Part of it is being able to understand the pre-sale side. When you look at the quantity of efforts, you'll see right over here on level 2, where there's, based on different university studies, the average number of contacts it takes to make a sale is somewhere between 6 and 10 contacts. Those same university researchers researched business owners and salespeople and found that the average salesperson, business owner, will only go ahead and contact a prospect 1 to 2 times. If it takes 10 contacts to make a sale and you make 9, you've done 90% of the work. How much do you make? 0. See, this is why sales can make so much money. It's a totally different mindset. If you have an employee that's working 80% of their time, how much do they get paid? 100%. That's exactly right. They don't come at the end of the day and say, you know what, I only gave you 80% today. You have to pay me less. You just have. You don't have that. In sales, it's not like that at all. You can't give 99%. You have to give 100%. Q4, quality of lead, or quality of effort. A lot of salespeople, they spend so much time on a prospect, they could have either asked for the sale or asked for their hand in marriage. I mean, one or the other. If we don't understand the different personalities, what we're going to do is we're going to sell to other people the way we want to be sold to. So the analytical gives tons of data, but if they're selling to a driver analytical, it will not turn the driver expressive on, it's going to turn them off. The more time you spend with them, the less chance you're going to have to convert them. So being able to understand the personalities for salespeople is absolutely critical. All right, so what you do is you just cut that in half, and then you just roll that up into a cylinder, and you have area 2. Let's take a look at area 3, your blue page, the sale. The sale is the hardest of the 5 areas to really master, to really put a system in place. It's why salespeople get paid so much money. And so it's an art, it's a science. The first thing is asking key questions. This is why initial salespeople do a lot better. It's because they don't know much of anything, so they're just like, I better ask some questions because I don't know any of the answers. And then they become skilled. And then they skip over asking the questions, and they go right to the solution. And then your experienced salespeople they're not as effective. The sale does not occur in presentation of the solution. The sale occurs in the asking of the questions. It's a general rule. If you get somebody to say, that is a really good question 3 times, they'll buy anything. Doesn't matter what it is. Because you've gone right outside their knowledge base, not way outside, but right outside their knowledge base, and they're saying, wow, you really know a lot. I bet you have something that could help me with. We also have listed on this, again, you cut it in half, roll it up, and you'll have the cylinder. You have the 4 shapes, and then you have right over here the 4 different types. We've also listed on here the 5 time management freedom fighters. So the sales area, why prospects are lost. There's a bunch of natural laws in that. Applying the 5 time management freedom fighters, the speed to sell. And so this is something that we as owners of companies need to be looking at. Not just how many out of 10 do we convert, but how long is our sales cycle? If we can cut our sales cycle in half, what we have is twice as much bandwidth. I mean, we can do twice as much sales with the same people, the same resources, everything, if we just reduce that sales cycle. And then penetration versus expansion. Are you getting all the business you can possibly get from your clients? And if you're not, you're missing opportunities. All right, let's go to area 4, the purple. Purple is servicing. If you look at the first 3, okay, first 3, we kind of have these roller coasters, ups and downs. I mean, when we don't have sales, we get out there and sell, and then all of a sudden, we got the sale, and we all come into the servicing side. And so if we could get some help on that. In the servicing side, we really want to turn our servicing into a profit center. And so servicing, when handled properly, can actually produce more sales than areas 1, 2, and 3 combined. And so when we look at it, are all of our clients asking for referrals? We can just hit the enter. Yes, thank you. Beautiful. So are we asking for referrals? This feed successes back into the 1, 2, and 3. This is one of the most inexpensive ways to market and one of the most effective ways to do it. We took Becky with Dickey's Barbecue, wrote up a testimonial. Now that's going out to all of Jerry's and David's clients. So they're helping transform her business. We're documenting that, putting all of those things together. And when we put all of those things together, now she becomes a salesperson. She becomes one of the greatest advocates, and we're reproducing that with all of the video, with all of the resources. Pressure points, we won't get into that, measuring all of our cost, applying the 5 time management freedom fighters, and then turning it into a profit center. And so we go through each one of these 6 different levels to be able to see success. And then area 5 is client for life. This is an area that most companies don't even consider. They have no idea what a client for life is. They don't put the systems, they don't put the pieces in place. If we go ahead and don't do marketing, it's pretty obvious we don't generate leads. We find that out real quick. Pre-sales or sales, if we don't do that, we find out that pretty quick. Servicing our clients, if we're not good there, our clients will let us know. Nobody's going to tell you how much business you're losing if you're missing out on client for life. So client for life is just, it's taking a client and not only servicing them forever, but it's finding out their entire sphere of influence. I mean, think about think about your clients and how many people. I mean, if you had, even 100 clients, and each one of them had 100 other businesses that they knew, how many of those businesses would be using your products or services? All of them. How are you going to get into their spheres of influence? And so sending a monthly newsletter marketing. How many of you would like every one of your clients to send a monthly newsletter to their entire database? Could I see your hands? Okay. I would think so. I think that would probably be a good thing for them and a good thing for you as well. Obtaining B2B and B2C referrals. Synergy, I think it was about 17, 18 years. We seminars, workshops. I mean, we did everything in the marketing that you could do to generate leads. And I think it was over 17 years, we generated about 110,000 in our database. We had over 500 different groups or segments. And so when we did that, we started moving into the client for life area. And working on the partnerships, which is going to be, if you go to the next one, profitable partnerships. And that's looking to move your clients. If you look at the lower right-hand side of the profitable partnerships, there's 4 quadrants that a customer can fit into. And so they can be a customer where they're giving you money, you're giving them something of value. It's okay, nothing's wrong with that, but you're not going to service them nearly as well. A quadrant 2 is a great customer. You're doing something like Jerry and David did with Becky. You're doing something that stands out, typically solving a problem, typically seeing some opportunity in their business. I mean, we had 30 people over at her restaurant yesterday. How happy was she with Jerry and David? Pretty happy, okay, because of that testimonial. In addition to that, we're looking at bringing the community together every single month. That wouldn't surprise me if it turns into every single week. And rather than Jerry and David going out one-on-one and connecting, they potentially could get 30, 40, 50, 100 people coming to them, and they would spend maybe 1 to 2 hours, bring value to all 100 of those people all at the same time. That's probably a pretty good use of time. So in the partnership, what you do is in partnerships, you take your leadership and you expand it tremendously where you continue to grow it. And so in the partnerships, it's really looking at how can you bring tremendous value in every area of that individual's life, in their business, in their personal, in their professional. And so there's a lot of different systems that you're able to do in going through that. All right, so we have gone over, as Ben promised, a lot of information in a short period of time. We're going to be here actually all the way until Saturday, I think around noon or so. And so we'd love to have you guys come by in the booth or individually. Got some, plenty of time to where I'd be able to connect and maybe give you some additional input, insight in that. In closing, I kind of thought, what story am I going to leave with you guys today? My oldest daughter, she's 25, and throughout all of the kids' lives, I have dated them on a regular basis, and it's just amazing on what that's done for them and done for me as well. And when she was 5 years old, that was one of her goals, and she had goals, and she said, okay, these are different things. She's a firstborn, so she's analytical, secondary of an amiable personality, so very methodical in how she's put her life together. And so she had one of her goals to date Dad. And she had planned it out, 3-4 weeks in advance. And so, all of a sudden it came down to a week, and then it's, 3 days and 2 days, and then all of a sudden the big day came. And my wife, being very considerate, she said, honey, Ginger Ann's really looking forward to this. Don't be home late, please. Have you ever had one of those days where the morning was just terrible, and the afternoon made the morning look good? I mean, it was so bad. That was that day, on that day that I was going to take Ginger Ann out on a date, and I'm like, I'm exhausted. I mean, I am just totally exhausted. There's just no way. So I'd figured out in my own mind on the way home, I'm like, I'm just going to explain it to, Ginger Ann, and I'm going to explain it to, my wife that, this particular goal, it's not that big a deal. I'll just kind of push it off. And I opened the front door, and staring at me with my wife and my 5-year-old daughter in her long white coat. I took one look at my wife and one look at my daughter, and I said, Mark, it is not in your best interest to reschedule this particular goal. And all of a sudden, energy came, and I said, Ginger Ann, Daddy's so looking forward to this. And we went ahead, and she got in the car, and we're driving to the restaurant. She's just jabbering about all the things that, 5-year-old girls talk about. When we got to the restaurant, she's still talking away, and the waitress comes and takes our order. And then she walks away, and a little while later brings the food, and Ginger Ann stops mid-sentence, and she says, Daddy, how come we didn't pay for the food? I said, sweetheart, in nicer restaurants, you don't have to pay until after you eat. Kind of gives you an idea where I'd taken her in previous dates as well. And so on the way home, I got to thinking, and I said, Mark, if she didn't have that goal, if it wasn't written down, if I didn't have accountability, I would have missed that opportunity. And that's a very fond opportunity for her as well as for me. And so Ben and mine and Tom's and ICD and all of the individuals that participate, we want to encourage you and ask you a question. Are you investing your life into the things that make a difference in the lives of other people? Are you leaving a legacy? You guys have been a great group. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.